1330 AM, 99.1 FM is where the action is. Bringing your high school football every Friday night, UWF football on Saturdays, and the NFL on Sundays. If you would like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Cocktail party in Jacksonville this Saturday. Lee Corso, as I turn around, has just picked SMU to defeat Memphis in Memphis, and that's going to be a fun one, I think. Also, I had some really cool things happen to me these last 2 weeks that I feel like sharing with you today. And Justin, I can't wait to discuss it with you as we go throughout the show. But in the meantime, this is Sports Call. What's up, everybody? Happy Saturday. And as always, Justin, we made it. We made it. We made it. It is Saturday. Your mic's not turned on, but you made it.
I'll see. Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, we've got the mics. We still.
It's literally a microphone roulette in this studio because we don't have. If you watch the stream, which our stream is actually going to be up here in about a few minutes, it's a microphone roulette because we have headphones that have microphones on it, and these are top of the line, state of the art headphones, microphones, Sennheisers. If you're an audio guy, if you're an engineer, you know exactly what I'm talking about, or you used to be a radio guy yourself, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that the Sennheiser headphone mouthpiece, seriously top of the line. But with that, it's like a roulette when it comes to finding out what mic we are. So in the meantime, we are set. We are ready to go. This is Sports Call. It is Saturday. We have a couple of really big football games today. Most notably, the Florida-Georgia game in Jacksonville every year, the world's largest cocktail party, although the NCAA does not acknowledge it as that anymore because it's alcohol-related and whatnot. Look, I went to the game last season. Justin, this is the craziest tailgate that you can possibly attend. I've been to numerous tailgates. I know that there are other schools that do it big, but the Georgia-Florida tailgate is like one I have never seen. And this is going to be a really fun game because last season, Georgia was the hands-down favorite, and they won, as you'd probably expect. This was a game where Florida, they just were not there to match Georgia. They did not have the talent to match Georgia, and it showed in the ball game. Jake Fromm, in fact, this was a time when Jake Fromm, at the time, when Justin Fields was still his backup, there was the possibility that Fields was behind him playing good football, and Fromm hit like a kind of a rough patch, but he had a great game in that ball game that kind of turned the tide for him for the season. He remained the starter. Justin Fields left, but this season's much different. The last two games, Georgia hasn't really been that team that we've been seeing the last 2 years. They lost to South Carolina. They struggled against Kentucky. Now, the weather played a big factor in that ball game. Both teams really, really struggled, but in the second half, Georgia managed to get it together a little bit, put up 21 points. They went on to win that ball game, and just like Florida last week, they got to have a bye to get some rest, develop their game plan, be ready to go and fresh for this ball game in Jacksonville, which is going to be a 2:30 kickoff on CBS. This ball game, I feel very good. You and I both are Florida fans. I feel very good about Florida's chances to win this ball game. This will be one of those games that I'm going to hold off and give my final prediction because last year I predicted Georgia to win. I ended up being correct. I was at the game. I called in when our good buddy Jordan Glass was here as our co-host, and I called in and gave my final prediction but said Georgia is going to win, and I said that as I had all my Florida gear on. This season, I'm not so certain about that, and I will give my reasons later on in the show. But Justin, first, we've got to talk about the World Series.
Yeah, we got to get to that World Series of first time ever that the away team, the home team never won a game in a 7-game series in all major sports where there's 7-game series. First time ever. There's been 1,462 7-game series in those major sports. Not a single one has had it to where a home team did not win a single game.
And that record was actually broken Game 6 after the Nationals won Game 6 in Houston. That's what set the record for most road win games.
Mm-hmm.
The longest that a road team had kept winning and a home team kept losing. They won the first 2 games in Houston, which was a shocker because Houston, going into this World Series, was the heaviest favorited team to win since the 2007 Boston Red Sox. That team, by the way, went on to sweep the Colorado Rockies. And really, ever since then, on that note, I've been waiting for Colorado to have a decent team, like a really solid team again, because you can only put Nolan Arenado out there for so long and not make it to a playoff. The same goes for Mike Trout, but I digress. This was a shocker. And also, it was poorly viewed. Less than 14 million people on average watched the games.
Yeah.
And that is the 3rd lowest viewing for this era, for the televised era. And a few thoughts went into that for me. A, people are going to continue to believe that baseball is a boring sport and it's never going to be as popular as, let's say, football or basketball in terms of Super Bowl or championship series. Or just B, people didn't want to see Houston in it. I think people liked the Nationals. They were not expected to be there. They had a good story. They didn't lose Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper really just left. He wasn't going to re-sign. And then they went to the World Series. They battled through the playoffs. They managed to sweep the Cardinals with ease. And then you go into this series, they were not supposed to be there. They were not supposed to make it to the postseason. I think the nation really appreciated that. But my host on the sister station that I work for, News Radio 92.3, I produce the Pensacola Morning News every weekday from 5 to 9. He said that he just doesn't think there are enough Nationals fans that would want to watch this series. And then you go back to Houston, kind of like the Patriots, even though it doesn't really weigh the same because the Patriots have gone to the Super Bowl every year for the last 4 seasons. Houston hasn't been quite that, but they've been dominant. They've been the best team in baseball all year long. Maybe that deterred people. That wasn't an exciting matchup because maybe they just assumed Houston was just going to win it all. I could be wrong on that. And by the way, if you want to be a part of the show, 623-1330, text or call that phone number. We're going to be here till 1 o'clock. We actually have a full show for the first time in 2 weeks. Will Kennedy is going to be joining us at 11:30 to talk about the North Greenville game that UWF has coming up here at 4 o'clock. But this series, despite the Nationals winning it all, I don't think it was the most attractive series. That's just my thought.
My thought is I'm going with your first option. I think it's just baseball. People are thinking it's boring. I said this early in the year when Justin Raley was with us that
he's like our baseball insider.
Yeah, I think baseball's losing popularity, and it's because it is. I mean, not many people go to it. The younger generation of baseball is slowly dying off. You can see it. There's not many kids that are passionate about it. I saw it with the kids I play with, that there's a lot of kids who just aren't passionate about the game anymore. You that knowledge and passion that you usually used to see in baseball, it's really decreased a lot. And I think the game of baseball, it's losing popularity more and more.
You mentioned Justin Raley, who is he was our intern. Mm-hmm. He is now back at school. He's a baseball player, by the way, where he goes to college. And I just sent him a text asking, hey, man, you want to come on and talk about this World Series? Because this is a guy who has a podcast in baseball. He has interviewed big names, most notably Buck Showalter, who's a local. And he's been a big name in baseball, in the history of baseball. Just send him a text saying if he wants to call in and talk about this World Series, because I'm sure he has a few thoughts of his own. And again, if you want to call in or text in, 623-1330, that is our phone number. But this World Series, to me, the games weren't like the first time when Houston went to the World Series in 2017, where it was just back and forth between them and the Los Angeles Dodgers. The games were close. The games had home runs, game-tying hits. They had clutch moments. Jose Altuve hitting a 3-run home run when they were down by 3 at home. It just had clutch moments, huge ball games that went late. There were extra innings, and you just didn't see that out of this World Series. You saw really teams getting out, like getting hits, getting home runs, in either holding on to the lead, or like we saw the last 2 games with Houston, they were down, but they came back and they padded the lead, so it never really was close after that. So that's what we saw a lot of in this World Series, was just not. Yeah, we saw good moments. We saw big home runs, but they were not like walk-offs. They were not game-timing like in the ninth inning home runs. They weren't. It wasn't that situation, and so I am not surprised when I heard the results of there being just under 14 million viewers per game, basically the third lowest ever in the televised, the current televised situation that we have going on. I wasn't surprised because also when I was watching the World Series, despite it going to 7 games, a part of me felt like there's just something about this World Series that there's just not a lot of hype. I felt that there just wasn't a lot of hype when it came to that Super Bowl. And you could hear all but one game on this station, and I would like to think we had a lot of listeners listening to the ball game, but there just didn't really seem to be a whole lot of hype around this World Series. Did you see it that way?
Well, see, I thought there should have been more hype because you have a team like Washington that's never won before, and all the stuff they're going up against Houston. They're hot. I've never really watched a World Series as much as I did this year. I didn't watch last year's World Series as much. I might have watched two games. I thought it should have been more hype just because Washington was trying to win their first one, and there's a Game 7 too. Usually when there's a Game 7, I mean, the ratings go up a lot because you don't get a Game 7 that often for a World Series.
You don't. In World Series, that's the best 2 words you can say in all sports is Game 7.
Mm-hmm.
Game 7. They don't happen often. They're fairly rare. And the last 2 out of 3 World Series have gone to 7 games, Houston being in both of them, but this time it did not go in Houston's direction. Also, one thing that's been a trend is that the away team has won the World Series, and I'm having to go back and go over the World Series in my head. 2015, the Royals won at the Mets. 2016, the Cubs won at Cleveland. 2017, the Houston Astros won at Los Angeles. 2018, the Dodgers won at Los Angeles. Los Angeles has had some bad luck when it comes to their home games.
Yeah.
And then this year, the Nationals defeating Houston at Houston. We haven't really seen a home team win in quite a long time. In fact, I'll go back even further. Now, 2014, same thing. The away team also won. The Giants beating the Kansas City Royals at Kansas City. The last time the home team won the World Series was Boston Red Sox in 2013, not too long after that Boston bombing. So that's another trend that we've been seeing in the World Series is that the away team has just been playing much better baseball in the World Series to where they're clinching the series away. They're playing better away. And this series was the epitome of that. It has never happened in World Series history that the away team has won. I'm doing the math now in my head. At least 6 times. The away team has won 6 times.
No, the away team won 7.
Well, now, but it was at 6 times that was the record.
And
5 times was the previous.
And it's not just World Series. It's every sport. When you say NHL, NBA, all those that have Game 7 series, all those sports that have Game 7 series, it's never happened in any of those sports. Not just baseball. All of them.
So there are 2 people that I want to talk about with this argument. One is Ryan Zimmerman. He is the first ever draft pick by the Washington Nationals. He has been with them since 2005. That was when they had their inaugural season.
Yep.
He has been a National his entire career. He has been a Nat, and I imagine his career is going to end with him being a National. And I think he's getting fairly close to that mark. He's getting fairly close to the end of his career. I think he still have another year, maybe another 2 years left in the tank. But I'm very happy for Ryan Zimmerman because he earned this one. He earned this one. He had been there from the very beginning. He is Mr. Nat, and he won a World Series. I don't think he's going to retire at the end of this year, although it wouldn't surprise me if he did. But what a way to go out if he does retire.
Yeah.
You spend your entire career with this one team at moments. There were moments where he was with a terrible team, and then throughout the years they got better. There were multiple years where they were World Series favorites and they wouldn't even make it to the postseason. Which shout out to Bryce Harper. He did say at the beginning of the season that he wanted to bring a title back to D.C., and that happened. So shout out to Bryce Harper. He ironically did that when he was giving his introduction speech as a brand new Philadelphia Philly, saying that he wants to bring the championship back to D.C., which I was like, all right, come on. He spent his entire career with them. He still has DC kind of in his mind. He has to get used to this too, just like we do. But the second person that I want to talk about, and I'm defending, by the way, is Juan Soto. And I want to get into an argument with somebody who disagrees with me. So, it doesn't have to be an argument. We look, I love disagreeing. I love it when someone disagrees with me, but only as long as you are willing to present facts to me, and I will do the same thing to you, but also you don't lose your temper and you just say I'm an idiot and hang up, because no one likes that guy. No one likes that guy, or woman for that matter. If you know, I'm not going to single out just the guys. Of course, women as well. Be ready to present facts with this one. Juan Soto is a guy who has been facing some scrutiny from baseball purists, saying they don't like how cocky he is. They don't like how whenever he takes a pitch, he does a little dance, a little shimmy as he kind of kicks the dirt to the front of the batter's box between each pitch, how he has like a flair to him. Can I just say, one, don't be a buzzkill to that person out there, and two, the game is evolving to where, yeah, the pitchers may not appreciate it, but one thing that the MLB has done a great job of embracing is they have adopted a slogan called "Let the kids play." Let the kids play. And you see this more out of, Hispanic baseball players. They have a flair to them. They have a swag to them. I don't like using that word, but that's really the best word I can use to describe. They have a certain personality to them. They're exciting. They're fun. They smile big. They create big moments, and they celebrate it, and they let you know about it that you're celebrating. They're not trying to rub it into the pitcher's face. Sometimes they probably are. But I have no problem with Juan Soto being a kid, which, by the way, last Friday was his 21st birthday. Think about that, guys, and women, but I'll use guys as to address the whole. Guys, he is a kid still. I'm 25. I'm about to turn 26 this month. Later on this month, I'm turning 26. I love that. And I was more of a person as a baseball player where I was more kind of kept in, a little more introverted on the field, but I was extremely talkative on the field. And if I had a big moment, I let you know that I had a big moment. I'm not always the guy who's going to, just keep a straight face. Sometimes I'll let you know that I'm emotional about this, and I loved what I just did. I love the emotions that Juan Soto expresses. I love the way he plays the ball game. He is talented, and he knows it, and he is confident. And there is zero problem with that. You are entitled to your opinion, but don't say he's ruining the game. He is absolutely not. He is a part of the new wave that's already here. And he is a great baseball player with a great personality, and I embrace him because he's going to be around for a long time. So you better get used to it.
I think that this new play style that's coming, you see it in a lot of people. You see it with Bregman too for the Houston Astros. The way he carries the bat down to the field. Or he'll do a little dance or something after he hits a home run. I like Bregman. Bregman, I like the way he plays. I like the way he has energy. It's something that baseball, in my opinion, I think it needs it, because the play style of just old school baseball, it's not exciting anymore. It's kind of dying off. I like to see this new energetic play style. Juan Soto, I loved when he did his little shimmy and shuffle. Pitchers may not like it, but it's just him. That's the way he plays. That's what gets him going. That's what he likes to do. The kid's young too. Let him play. He's just turned 21. He just had his first beer, legal beer.
Legally, he just had his first beer.
Yeah, I don't know his personal life. After winning the World Series there. He's just playing the game the way he wants to play it. You can't shame on him for it.
He's a very talented athlete, and he really should be embraced. And again, you are entitled to your opinion. You can absolutely say he's an embarrassment for baseball. But I will also say this. I believe you are in the complete minority when it comes to that opinion. He's a fun baseball player. He is exciting to watch. He's just talented in general. And coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to take a commercial break. We are going to get the opinions and thoughts of this World Series from our very own baseball insider, Justin Raley, calling into the show live from Montgomery. He'll be with us here after this break. You're listening to Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Imagine having a luxury hotel quality bath in your own home. That's what you'll get with Bath Fitter Pensacola. Bath Fitter will install a beautiful luxury tub in as little as 1 day. There's no demo, no mess, no stress. With thousands of options to choose from, custom design a bath you'll love. It's under warranty for as long as you own your home. With over 35 years experience and more than 2 million satisfied customers, Bath Fitter makes upgrading your bath easy. Visit bathfitter.com today to book your free in-home consultation or call 429-1777.
Does pain have you sidelined on the bench? Clearway Pain Solutions wants you back in the game. Our team of compassionate, board-certified pain specialists, chiropractors, and physical therapists will relieve your pain and restore your function. For comprehensive, patient-centered care, visit a Clearway doctor at one of our convenient locations near you. Call Clearway Pain Solutions today at 855-527-PAIN or visit our website at clearwaypain.com. That's 855-527-PAIN or clearwaypain.com.
From the all-time leading running back Emmitt Smith to Hall of Fame linebackers like Derrick Brooks, Pensacola is full of NFL legends. Well, how about joining some of the NFL legends every Sunday down at World of Beer, 200 South Palafox, for your ESPN Pensacola NFL tailgate party. It all gets kicked off at 10 o'clock. Stay around for the best games, prizes, and more at your favorite destination. It's the NFL Tailgate Show on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola is your home for UWF Argos football. Catch every game, home or away, on Pensacola's home for local sports. Next week, the Argos are on the road to Georgia to take on number 1 Valdosta State. Pregame starts at 5:30, kickoff at 6. Hear all the play-by-play action right here on your home for Argos football and local sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1. UWF football is presented in part by Summer Vista Assisted Living.
Get your vehicle ready for holiday road trips with these Pensacola Honda service specials. Save $10 on a lube, oil, and filter change, brake inspection, top-off fluids, multi-point inspection, and complimentary car wash. Only $44.95. Pensacola Honda's tire rotation, tire balance, and alignment, all for $139. And engine air filter and cabin filter replacement, only $99.95. PensacolaHonda.com or Pensacola Boulevard at W Street. Pensacola Honda, home of the one price, low price guarantee.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
What? Why? Just wait for the inheritance. We've definitely got a rich uncle somewhere. We're one call away from the winner's circle at the Derby, dinners with multiple forks, a vacation home in the country, using summer as a verb.
You don't actually think that, do you?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs, the Florida Society of CPAs, and the Ad Council.
The Paul Feinbaum Show.
Everything you wanted to happen hasn't happened.
Oh my gosh, that's all any of y'all want to talk about is Alabama.
You're really not understanding the conversation, but anyway, we can move on.
Alabama's dynasty has just begun.
Hold on a second, Charles. Somebody wants to talk to you.
I don't want to talk that compelling moron.
He's nothing but a lame-headed old man.
2 till 5 every weekday afternoon. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You're out of your freaking mind, cowturd.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Quick check on the scoreboards. We like to do this on Sports Call. Texas A&M currently down early to University of Texas of San Antonio, and traditionally this has been one of the lower, bottom 10 teams in FBS football. So Texas A&M down early, and UTSA has the ball. We'll keep you updated on all these games. Michigan 14-0 over Maryland. This is a Maryland team that I'm embarrassed about because early in the season I bought in on them, and I even said on this show that I'm buying in on Maryland, and they have just been not good. That's the best way I could put it without being really mean. They have just not been good ever since then. Boston College over Syracuse 3-0. Wake Forest, 23rd ranked team in the nation, over NC State at the moment with a 7-0 lead. In Houston on top of UCF, 7-0 in that ball game. as well. We're going to go back to the World Series to finish up our conversation because we do want to get the opinion of our baseball insider, Justin Raley, calling from school, from the campus at Montgomery, Alabama. He goes to he goes to Huntington, a baseball player over there. He also has a baseball podcast, and we'll give him an opportunity to plug that. But Justin, welcome back to the show, man.
What's going on, guys? Appreciate y'all having me.
Oh, first off, we miss you, man. You know, it's been a little while. You hung out in the studio with us every Saturday whenever you were interning over here with us, but now you're back on the ball field in Huntington. First off, how's the season looking so far?
You know, we just finished up fall ball a couple weeks ago. Pretty good fall. Looking forward to the season. Should have a pretty good team.
All right, and what's the mascot for Huntington again?
The Hawks.
The Hawks. So, all right, the Huntington Hawks, we'll keep a check on them throughout the baseball season. This won't be the last time we have you on the show for sure, so you can give us updates about what's going on over in Montgomery. But first off, dude, we got to get your thoughts about this World Series. I am under the belief that the viewership in recent years. First off, I want to get your thoughts about just how did you view this World Series? How was it for you?
Well, first of all, being a Braves fan, it really hurt me to see the Nationals there.
Yep, in division rival.
But as far as matchups go, the pitching matchups were something I couldn't wait to watch.
I agree with you on that. You know, you have even in Game 7 when you had Max Scherzer and Zach Greinke, both Cy Young winners, on the mound facing off against each other. That was a treat. But you had three Cy Young winners on their rotations, ready to go, ready to pounce. Or not? I say three for Houston, and then you had one for Washington. But still, Steven Strasburg, I'm sure he's due for a Cy Young here in the future. Just talented staff all around.
Well, you're finally seeing the Strasburg that the Nationals thought they drafted. And it was a great series as far as matchups go, and I love seeing the pitching. But how about Justin Verlander continuing to struggle in the World Series?
Yeah, he has a losing record.
5.68 ERA.
Yeah, 0-6 with a 5.68 ERA. He has never won a ball game, and he's been pitching in the World Series dating back to 2012 when I believe he was either a rookie or he was in his second year as a Major League Baseball player. It has not been good for Justin Verlander in the World Series.
Yeah, and it's not like he struggles in the postseason because he's still got a 3.4 ERA with 30 starts, and he's got the most strikeouts in postseason history with 205.
And then Max Scherzer, of course, on the other side of the ball, he's a guy who had back spasms in Game 5, was supposed to get the start. He did not start. They did lose that ball game, but it was okay because the next game you had Strasburg on the mound who pitched such a good game and had been playing so well during this World Series that, frankly, I think deservedly so. You can make arguments for other people. Juan Soto probably would have been my other MVP, but I'm totally okay with Strasburg being the MVP. 2-0 in the World Series, pitching lights out in Game 6 to set up the Game 7 matchup. Scherzer was healthy again. He had a cortisone shot to help with his back spasms, and for the amount that he pitched, he did what he could for the Nationals. I'm gonna call them, almost said Mariners for some reason. No, but for the Nationals.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Scherzer is the definition of a workhorse on the mound, and you can't ask for anything else out of your number one guy.
Now, who in the World Series outside of the pitching staff impressed you the most? For me, it has been Juan Soto, but we saw Anthony Rendon come on late in the series, hitting some clutch home runs. Who in the series stood out to you outside of the pitching staff?
Well, as far as I would have to say, obviously Juan Soto had a good series, and then you've got guys like Anthony Rendon, who is just insane. I mean, he was the first player to hit a home run in 3 straight elimination games. And then he's going to get paid this offseason for sure.
Do you see him returning back to Washington?
Kendrick? I'm going to have to give a shout out to him because he bounced around systems, and he was a guy that was really looking for a job, and you don't know if he's going to be employed. And he comes out and wins an LCS MVP. And then hits a clutch home run in Game 7.
To give him the lead, right.
So Howie Kendrick stood out to me for sure. I got to give a shout-out to him as a guy who's overlooked behind the Rendons and the Sotos.
Yeah, Howie Kendrick is a guy who has been he's been overlooked throughout a lot of his career. He has never really, I don't even think he's been an All-Star. Maybe once he has been an All-Star. It's not coming to mind if he has even been an All-Star. But this is a guy, he started his career for the Angels, bounced around for a little bit. He landed in Washington. He's a veteran. He's been in the league for a little while now, and he had clutch moments all throughout the playoffs, and then you saw it in the World Series in the 7th inning with a man on base. He hit a home run to give him the lead, and they never relinquished it from there. They added more. They padded the lead. Juan Soto with a clutch RBI single to continue to pad that lead even more. It was a great series for not only Soto but Howie Kendrick as well. So that's a good player that you called out.
Yeah, absolutely. He's actually a one-time All-Star. I did look it up.
One-time All-Star. Okay, I figured because I remember Howie Kendrick younger in his career, him being a pretty solid player, but never really the player that was gonna lead you to the World Series or was gonna be the face of a ball team. He was always just a role player who was good enough to maybe make an All-Star game.
Yeah, he's a super utility kind of guy. You plug and play here and there. But he definitely showed up when it mattered.
11:30 here on Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. We are speaking with a guy who's a good friend of the show. He's also our baseball insider, Justin Raley. Justin, so now that the World Series has concluded, the Astros are named the favorites to win next season, while the Nationals, they have 14-1 odds. Now, those numbers stand out to me because it's looking like they don't anticipate the Nationals are going to keep Rendon. Do you see Rendon coming back to Washington at all?
I actually do. I really think that's a big chance. In fact, I would put him at number one on I think the Nationals might be the number one location for him. But he's going to get paid. And whether that's Washington or somewhere else, it's going to be interesting to see. But I think he'll come back to Washington. I really do. As of right now, that's my call.
And Washington is a team that they have a pretty deep payroll. They're not afraid to shell out some cash to pay for good players. I certainly do see a big offer going to Rendon, but I don't see him going back to Washington because there are going to be other big market teams that are going to be looking for a player like Rendon that are going to be offering a little bit more cash. And you know what? It would not shock me the least bit if I were to see the Dodgers place a bid on him to try and get him to go over there. Or if I'm crazy, what about Houston? What if Houston were to try and sign for him and give him some big money to go back home? He's from the Houston area. He went to Lamar High School, played his college baseball at Rice, which is a premier baseball school for college. It wouldn't shock me if I saw him considering Houston as a possibility if they were to give him that offer. Also, I think in the pitching rotation, they're going to do whatever they can to hang on to Scherzer as well as Strasburg, because Strasburg is going to be worth big money because he can buy out of his contract. Or not buy out, he can opt out.
It's looking like he will opt out.
Opt out,
so,
have an opportunity to restructure your contract, get bigger bucks, and the Nationals already lost one of their top draft picks. Of course, it worked out for them because they did go on to win the World Series. With Strasburg healthy again, because he came in as advertised, I thought, but after he hurt his shoulder, he did fall off a little bit. But now, the last 3 seasons, he has been playing as advertised, and we really saw it this year, and especially in the postseason. I don't see the Nationals wanting to part ways. I do see Strasburg opting out of his contract. I think the Nationals might focus harder on that one. I find it hard to believe that if both those players opt out, that the Nationals are going to be able to keep both.
Oh, I don't think they can keep both, but I definitely think if I had to choose between the two, I think they've got to go after Strasburg as hard as they can.
All right, early prediction, I know, but I did mention that the Houston Astros are the favorites, according to Las Vegas, to be winners of the next World Series in 2020. Okay, put on your 2020 vision. Who do you have winning the World Series? Who is your early in the year favorite to win the World Series?
Well, if the Braves don't win the World Series, I'm going to lose my mind.
They are a deep, talented team.
I would have to say either you've got to expect the Braves to make a run, and you've got to expect the Dodgers to be there like always.
I like those odds. I would agree. I think Vegas would agree with you also. I think if Houston can keep the team that they have going right now, I think they'll go back to the World Series. I don't know if I agree with them being the World Series favorite yet. Of course, we have a whole offseason to see what moves are going to be made, what trades are going to be placed, what free agents and draftees that come up through the system. How are they going to play for those teams, and how well will they do? We have a lot to look forward to during this offseason, but in the meantime, Justin, we do have to take a quick break because we have Will Kennedy coming on after this. Good speaking with you. Sad that baseball season's over, but for you, baseball season is going to be beginning after winter, so good luck to you this season. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, guys, I appreciate y'all having me. Looking forward to being on again.
Absolutely, dude. 11:34 here on Sports Call with Justin and Davis. You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. At the end of this break, Will Kennedy talking about UWF taking on North Greenville at Blue Wahoo Stadium. That's coming up next here on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM.
Hey, sports fans, we know that we all fumble now and then when we're headed for the end zone, and our vehicles are no exception. Next time your bad ride is a little offsides, take it to Amco Transmission, your total car care facility. And with no interest financing, even with less than perfect credit, you'll drive away feeling as if you caught the winning touchdown. You always make the right play when you take your vehicle to Amco Transmission on Davis Highway, just south of Airport Boulevard. Visit them on Facebook or call 800-GO-AMCO. AA-MCO.
I'm really hungry, but I don't want to spend a fortune.
Well, you're in luck. Now you can get Denny's Super Slam with 2 eggs, 2 bacon strips, 2 sausage links, hash browns, and 2 pancakes, all for just $5.99.
That is a great deal. So I get all of that for just $5.99?
You sure do.
Wow, this meal just keeps getting better and better.
Some might say super.
I see what you did there.
The $5.99 Super Slam is back. See you at Denny's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. No substitutions.
I thought I was too old.
I thought I was too young.
I didn't think I had what it takes.
How'd I find the time?
I went into a music store and tried some percussion.
Keyboard, guitar,
bass.
ukulele.
And before I knew it,
I could actually play a song.
why make excuses when you can make music? Just play. This message brought to you by the NAM Foundation.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 94.5 contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 are non-transferable, non-redeemable in cash, nor exchangeable for any other prize. ESPN Pensacola 94.5 prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning, and you must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
Just felt there's a huge need in Pensacola to bring foot and ankle services, specifically orthopedic foot and ankle services, to this area. There's so much growth in Pensacola. I wanted a freestanding orthopedic foot and ankle center to do this, and as far as I can tell, this is the only one really in the country that's freestanding. Most orthopedic surgeons are part of a multi-specialty group. So we offer on-site x-rays, on-site CT scan, and on-site MRI. They can come to one place.
Visit NielsenOrthopedics.com to reserve your appointment today.
Hey there, I'm a glue stick, so I have one job. I glue kid stuff. So sorry for being jealous of Geico, who does a ton more, like give you 24/7 access to thousands of licensed agents. And Geico has been around for over 75 years and has a 97% customer satisfaction rating. While I've just got mediocre adhesive skills, Geico also has an award-winning mobile app. Uh-oh, arts and crafts time. No eating the glue stick, Miss Lydia!
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. You're listening to Sports Call with Davis and Justin. Happy Saturday, everybody, and my goodness, does it feel good. It is Saturday. We have big football games on today. College game day was in Memphis for the SMU-Memphis game, and that's going to be a really exciting game. I believe Chris Fowler is going to be on the call with Kurt Herbstreit, and that is always a very exciting football game. Also, we want to preview Sunday, because Sunday we're going to have some NFL action on this show. Of course, Chad Brilliante is going to be getting you ready for your NFL Sunday with the NFL Tailgate Show over at World of Beer. Him and Justin do a good job of getting that thing going. But then following that game at noon, or following that show at noon is going to be the Eagles-Bears game. So the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Chicago Bears. That's going to be happening right here over the airwaves of ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, beginning at noon. So we have you covered on the NFL as well. And right now we're waiting on a phone call from Will Kennedy. If he doesn't come on with us, no big deal. He is currently at the UWF Athletes Hall of Fame. And so he may be a little late getting to us from that. And if he doesn't join us, or maybe he has to join us a little bit later, it's all cool. We can talk about the one of those things I do want to do is talk about the athletes who have been inducted into the UWF Athletics Hall of Fame. So he's out there doing that. He'll be with us here momentarily. But in the meantime, we do want to get you updated on the college football games that are going on right now. Michigan holding on to that 14-0 lead over Maryland. Wake Forest expanding their lead over NC State to 21-0. And then Houston, they have a 7-0 lead over UCF, so not much has changed there. So this is intriguing.
All right, what we got?
Alabama, every year. Alabama does a good job of this, I think. They do a good job of this. They're good about starting the season off against a decent team that has that has a, they play in neutral locations. Now, Duke was sort of the exception. Duke maybe was a more attractive team because Duke was a good football team 4 or 5 years ago. And that's probably when that schedule was made. Mm-hmm. Now, Duke hasn't really been the same. They did have Daniel Jones last year, who was phenomenal for them. However, I thought he did a great job with them. However, they're just not the same team. So Alabama opening up the season against Duke, not the most attractive. But Alabama in 2025 and 2026, they're going to be having a home-and-home series with Florida State.
Yeah, and this is the thing with Bama, man. They play it off so perfectly. It's fine what we're doing here. But they do it like with USC. USC was good 4 years ago. And then also, Duke, okay, a couple years ago. But when they come and play them, they're not good. Like with FSU. They weren't good when they played them back in, 2017, 2016?
That was 2017 when DeAndre Francois, they had just come off an Orange Bowl. He was this Florida State team was ranked number 2 in the nation. This was looking to be a very good matchup, and then he got hurt, and that's where we were introduced to James Blackman.
Yeah.
Who will not be playing today, by the way. He has been benched. There is no injury. He has been benched, and we are going to see Alex Hornibrook in this ballgame.
For good reason, too. I think it should always be Hornibrook because I feel like Hornibrook's a better quarterback than Blackman. I've never been a Blackman fan ever since Francois got hurt.
And it's like semi-rivalry weekend. You have Florida and Georgia, but then you also have Miami. They're coming into Tallahassee. And if I had nothing going on today, I would probably make that road trip to Florida State just for fun. For fun.
I know Big Moose. He's out there. He's doing it big and over at Tallahassee for that game. He actually was texting me last night during the football game that I was doing commentary for West Florida and Tate. Not every day you get a text from Big Moose, but pretty cool, I guess.
Big Moose, by the way, if you don't listen to our sister station, Cat Country 98.7, he is the afternoon host from 2 to 7. Big guy. You cannot miss him. He's wearing yellow just like our friend Brent Lane always does. He is a hard guy to miss. Let's just put it that way. But, yeah, he's also from Tallahassee. He worked for a station over in Tallahassee. That was the flagship station for FSU football. So he has deep ties over there. So he's over there enjoying himself, rooting on for the Seminoles. The Seminoles are taking on Miami. I do want to talk about that game real quick before we go back to Alabama and Florida State, that home-and-home series in 2025 and 2026. Florida State, this is a very winnable ball game for them. They haven't beaten Miami in a few years. They need this win. They need it desperately. They're a 4-4 team, just like Miami is. And they're starting Jaron Williams at quarterback. We saw him play against Florida to open up the season in the Week 0 matchup, which was down at the wire, by the way. This Florida State team is a better team when they have Alex Hornibrook at quarterback. And I think this is a very winnable ball game for them. With that also, where on earth is Tate Martell? I heard
he's hurt.
I heard that also he was going to transfer again, but now I heard, according to a recent report, he is back warming up at quarterback because he had switched to receiver during the offseason when it was announced that Jaron Williams, true freshman, or redshirt freshman, by the way, he was the starting quarterback for Miami, and then Nikasi Perry eventually came in. He took over for Williams, and you just kind of sit there, you're like, where's Tate Martell? This guy was a 5-star quarterback in high school.
QB1,
by the way.
Bishop Gorman.
Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas. This is a guy who's a talented quarterback, at least what we saw in high school. So, he went to Ohio State. He transferred out of there when Justin Fields made the announcement that he's going to be coming to Ohio State. He left because he figured he's probably not going to play with Justin Fields there. I don't really know what's going on over there. I don't have deep ties to Miami, but what I heard, according to a recent report, is that Tate Martell is warming up at quarterback again, not receiver. So we'll see about that game. It's going to be a kickoff at 2:30. You can hear that game on ABC. You can watch that game on ABC. Florida State, this is a very winnable ball game for them. They're at home, and I could really see them taking it to Miami today. Now, of course, expect to see the turnover chain. Florida State, they have made multiple mistakes all throughout their games throughout this season that I expect to see that. But I think with an experienced quarterback who has wins under his belt, who has New Year's 6 wins under his belt, I should say, I do like Florida State to win this ball game. In fact, while I'm even speaking about that, the over and under on this ball game is 49. The spread favors Florida State by 3. I like Florida State in this ball game.
I like Florida State just because Miami isn't the same team without Jaron Williams at quarterback. They're a completely different team. And also, I think it's going to be a close game today, and I feel like this is a game that FSU they can come out and win. And it's hard to keep up with this team, man, especially with them not having much success. It's hard to look into this team and have positive things to say about them because I don't know what's good to say about FSU or Miami at this point now. I remember Joe last night, he asked me, I said the same thing. I'm like, I really don't know what to say about these two teams. It's really hard to keep up with them and say positive things about them to look into because their seasons aren't that successful. Now, if you're talking about Georgia and Florida, I got things to say about that later in the show, though.
Now, one thing about Florida State is they could be a 6-win team already if they hadn't relinquished leads in the second half. Boise State should have been a big win for them. They looked great early in the game, but now they just are plagued in the second half. It almost happened again against Louisville, where James Blackman ended up going down with an injury. Blackman came in, they started scoring again, and they managed to win by a sizable amount. But for some reason, they really rely too hard on James Blackman, and the better quarterback is Hornibrook. The better quarterback is Alex Hornibrook. I have been shocked that I was shocked that he wasn't started at the beginning of the season, but also at the same time, I could see what they were thinking because he has experience with this team. He has some leadership with this team. He's a captain of this team. But I'm going to now turn over Felipe Franks for Florida, right? He was the starter for 2.5 years, and he was so mediocre. We saw glimpses of good stuff out of him towards the end of the year that ended up resulting in a Peach Bowl victory for him and the Gators, but they were also a very good team. They were a very good, complete team that it was okay if Felipe was an okay quarterback. But now you see a guy like Kyle Trask come in, and of course he's in because Felipe suffered a very terrible injury. He broke his ankle. That's not good. No, don't want that for anyone. I'd rather them just simply lose their starting job than not lose it because they suffered a huge injury. I don't wish that on anybody, even if you're my arch rival. I will never wish that on anybody, but we've seen Florida play good offensively. I'm not going to say great just yet, but except LSU, I will say they had some really great moments. They handled them very well for how good LSU is, and rightly so. They are the number 1 team in the nation. But we saw Florida's offense improve dramatically when Kyle Trask came in. This offense for Florida State, they are a better team if Hornibrook is taking the snaps. And I just got a text from Will Kennedy. He's ready to go. With that, we will take a quick timeout, and after this break, we will get to Will. You're listening to Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. And you might just see this. Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favour to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favourite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly Dilly! Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Well, you want to see a Broadway show, but New York City just isn't in the cards.
Broadway's coming to you! Get your tickets now for the 2019-2020 Broadway season at the Sanger Theater. See amazing Broadway touring shows like Jersey Boys, Cats, The Color Purple, Beautiful, An American in Paris, and Waitress for a third of the cost you would pay on Broadway. See actual Broadway shows right here in downtown Pensacola. Get all the details at PensacolaSanger.com.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
The key on offense is going to be whether Franks can come back and duplicate what he did in the last 4 games.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola is your home to UWF Argos football. Catch every game, home or away, on Pensacola's home for local sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Well, the UWF Argos, one of the hottest teams in Division II at the moment. Winners of 6 straight after dropping their season opener against Carson Newman, and they are undefeated in Gulf South Conference play. And, of course, looking ahead to next week, you have Valdosta State, the #1 team in the nation. The nation will be watching as it's going to be the D2 showcase game of the week. But first, we need to take care of business when it comes to this week. North Greenville is coming in town to Blue Wahoo Stadium, and on the line to talk to us about today's game, going live at 3:30 with the UWF pregame show, and then the game with kickoff at 4 o'clock. Will Kennedy, the voice of the Argos, is on the line with us. Will, welcome back to Sports Call.
Good morning. Good Saturday. Looking forward to a football Saturday here in Pensacola.
Yeah, man, and it's been a couple of weeks because, Justin and I were live at the fair for a couple of weeks, and then you had an early kickoff last week as the Argos took on Florida Tech, the Battle of the Coastal Classic. Let's get started with that game first, a recap of how that game went. It wasn't like what we saw 2 years ago when it ended with a 44-yard field goal from Austin Williams to win it all, and a little bit of drama to precurse that. This game was handled pretty well by the Argos.
Yeah, and even last year's game, came down to an opportunity for the Argos to potentially win it with a field goal at the end. That didn't work out, but this one, he's never really in doubt. And Argos, the offense was clicking. kind of early on. It was a weird thing because you had this lightning delay in the first half after the first touchdown of the game, and you had to sit for an hour plus and come out of the locker room and, get right back to it again. It ended up being a pretty dynamic game for UWF. I mean, the offense scored just about every way you can imagine. Some long, sustained drives, some short field drives, and then the big plays were really the story. Shamari Mason with a 60-yard touchdown run, Kevin Grant with a 60-yard touchdown catch, dynamic playmaking at the end. You kind of walk out of there the way you want to with that Coastal Classic trophy and a relatively easy victory.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of competent play out of the quarterback position with Austin Reed, playing just some really good football, handling the game very well. But I want to give a shout-out to Shamari Mason. If you don't know this name, get to know this name. Back-to-back Gulf South Conference Freshman of the Week. This is a kid who has had some breakout games for the Argos. We didn't hear his name much at the beginning of the year, but tell us a little bit about this kid.
Yeah, Shamari is really the fourth running back. He doesn't even show up on the the two deep depth chart. They'll put three running backs on the two deep, which doesn't make much sense, but that's the way they do it. And so you'll see Anthony Johnson, Javon Newton, and Jaden Gardner. You don't even see Shamari on that two deep, but he is right now the leading rusher for this running back group. 316 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's averaging 8 yards a carry, and he's really what this running game has not had in the 4.5 years of the program. Or 3.5 years, of the program, is having the big play running back, the guy who can hit the home run, break that 50, 60, 70-yarder. And we've seen that twice now. We saw it against Delta State. We've seen it against Florida Tech. When he gets to that second level, you're not going to catch him. He also is a small guy. He's listed at 5'6", 170, true freshman, so we're going to have this kid around for years to come. But he's got those moves, and I've likened him on air to a mini Barry Sanders, which I know is a gigantic comparison, but he's got that ability to stop on a dime, change direction, go from zero to top speed in the blink of an eye. And wow, from play calling standpoint for Pete Shinnick and this offense, it just opens up the things you can do.
Yeah, that Delta State game, Justin Patrick here. Hey, Will, how you doing?
Good.
That Delta State game for Shamari, that was really his breakout game. I'm pretty sure, if I recall right, he had 2 touchdowns that game, 100 yards, and only on 4 carries as well. It was a huge breakout game. It was all in the second half. I mean, of course, that game was just a blowout for UWF. But how do you expect UWF to use Shamari today, knowing that he's the fourth running back on this UWF roster? How do you expect them to use Shamari today against North Greenville?
I think you're going to kind of see the pattern continue that you've seen in previous weeks. And as I'm putting together the broadcast and looking through some statistics, you've really got Anthony Johnson and Javon Newton getting the bulk of the carries, 65, 70 carries for those two guys. And then it's Jaden and Shamari at around 40 carries so far this season. So it's nobody's being asked to carry the ball 25 times, 30 times a game. It's spread out. You're going to see Shamari most times in the second half, and I think that's a benefit for this Argo team, this offense, because you've got a defense that's a little tired. They've been on the field a little bit longer against this offense, and that allows him to get into that second level, make those long runs, and break a game open. I don't know that you're going to see Pete Shinnick give him a ton more as far as the workload is concerned, but Shamari Mason's done a fantastic job of maximizing every touch that he gets. I look into towards the future. This is probably a guy you're going to see catching some balls out of the backfield and just getting more and more involved in this offense.
And yeah, the formula that Pete Shinnick is running on offense, especially with the running backs, it's working. So I wouldn't alter it right now at the moment. But we talked a little bit about North Greenville and how Shamari Mason could possibly be used in this ball game. Let's learn a little bit about this North Greenville game. Coming in 3-4, they had a tight loss to Valdosta State last week and keeping it close, losing 20-15 in that ball game. Tell us a little bit about this North Greenville game. What can the Argos expect from a team that we've only seen twice now in our careers?
This is a tough one because I'm not quite sure what we should expect from North Greenville. And we've seen a little bit of this, guys, in the Gulf South Conference this year. Week to week, we'll see a team go out, play a game where they blow somebody out and then lose one that you wouldn't expect them to lose the next week. I don't know with Valdosta last week in North Greenville if that was Valdosta letting down a little bit. They have a bye this week before playing West Florida next week, and what will be, as you mentioned, the showcase game, the huge D2 game of the week. So did they let down a little with North Greenville coming in? Did North Greenville play to their ceiling, the best of their abilities? So, coming off that game, North Greenville has got some injury issues at quarterback. Thursday night, they kicked 2 players off their team, including their, by far, best wide receiver. And so do they have anything left to play for? Did they shoot their shot last week, come up just that short, and, come in here this week a little down? It's hard to say because you look at their results going back. The games they've won have been very, very close, and the games they've lost, they lost to Delta State 34-9. So you do the math. The way we beat Delta State, you would figure you'd be a pretty big, against Greenville, you would be the favorite, but that's not the way it works in football. You have to play the game. It's not played on paper. What I would like to see as an Argo fan would be an easy win today. You get out of it healthy, nobody gets hurt, you can rest your starters a little bit, and then go into Valdosta next week. But you can't overlook North Greenville. You can't overlook anybody week to week in the Gulf South.
We're speaking with Will Kennedy. He is the voice of the Argos. Will, we're actually coming up to a hard break here in a few seconds, so I do just want to give you a second to talk about today. It's the pregame show today. We also have a couple of activities going on out there. Is that right?
Yeah, 3:30 for the pregame show right here on ESPN Pensacola. Join us. So that will be simulcasting on radio and TV with YourView Florida. So you can check YourView out to find out where to watch it, your location. But it is 850 Day. We're celebrating Argo fans, the community of Pensacola. $10 seats in the bleachers in the outfield. Argo Athletic Club has a tailgate out front. We're expecting a big crowd for this one. 4 o'clock kick. Bring a jacket. Bring your mittens, bring your hat, scarf, all that kind of stuff. But come out and root on the Argos because this is really setting up to be a dynamic finish to the season. And, Valdosta next week, but we got to take care of business today.
Yeah, I go over the schedule at least a few times a week, and I was looking at the schedule yesterday, and I couldn't believe it. We are almost done with the regular season, Will. It went by that fast.
It's wild. But, playoff games, guys, we're hoping, and we didn't get into this, but the regional rankings are out. We're 5th in the Super Region 2. We still got to play Valdosta. Obviously, some other teams are playing each other that are ranked above us. Good chance that we not only make the playoffs, but maybe host a game or two, especially if we beat Valdosta. The good news is we control our own destiny, so if you can keep on winning, you'll be where you want to be.
Absolutely, and we've never hosted a playoff game, and I know Pensacola is ready to do it. Will Kennedy, the voice of the UWF Argos, he'll be going live at 3:30 with the UWF pregame show. Kickoff will be at 4 right here on ESPN Pensacola. Will, thanks for joining us, and go Argos.
Go Argos. See you guys.
All right, we're going to take a quick timeout, pay a couple of bills. You're listening to Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Football season has arrived, and ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM is where the action is. Bringing your high school football every Friday night, UWF football on Saturdays, and the NFL on Sundays. If you would like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Tap Book Bar and Bistro is the South's premier destination for high-energy sports entertainment. Enjoy award-winning food and a wide variety of draft beer selections with a local flair. Featuring a giant video wall, dozens of HD TVs, and a smoke-free video poker bar, there's no better place to be for sports entertainment. Join us at Tap Book Bar and Bistro, only at Beau Rivage. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Just felt there's a huge need in Pensacola to bring foot and ankle services, specifically orthopedic foot and ankle services, to this area. There's so much growth in Pensacola. I wanted a freestanding orthopedic foot and ankle center to do this, and as far as I can tell, this is the only one really in the country that's freestanding. Most orthopedic surgeons are part of a multi-specialty group. So we offer on-site x-rays, on-site CT scan, and on-site MRI. They can come to one place.
Visit NielsenOrthopedics.com to reserve your appointment today.
Hey sports fans, we know that we all fumble now and then when we're headed for the end zone, and our vehicles are no exception. Next time your bad ride is a little off sides, take it to AMCO Transmission, your total car care facility. And with no interest financing, even with less than perfect credit, you'll drive away feeling as if you caught the winning touchdown. You always make the right play when you take your vehicle to AMCO Transmission on Davis Highway, just south of Airport Boulevard. Visit them on Facebook or call 800-GO-AMCO. AA MCO.
Get your vehicle ready for holiday road trips with these Pensacola Honda service specials. Save $10 on a lube, oil, and filter change, brake inspection, top-off fluids, multi-point inspection, and complimentary car wash. Only $44.95. Pensacola Honda's tire rotation, tire balance, and alignment, all for $139. And engine air filter and cabin filter replacement, only $99.95. PensacolaHonda.com or Pensacola Boulevard at W Street. Pensacola Honda, home of the one price, low price guarantee.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. If you want to watch the show, you can catch us on the YouTube stream. We're not on Facebook for some reason. Facebook is acting all wonky with us, but YouTube is working. So if you want to catch the stream, watch us on YouTube. We do have a page on there, ESPN Pensacola. Check us out. If you don't know what we look like, that's one way of doing it. I've been to events where people would see me and I'm wearing my name tag, because in radio, unless your face is on every billboard out there, it's best for you to wear a name tag. So that way someone who maybe listens to your station, they could see you and they could see the tag, and they'll put it together. I've had that happen to me at events where people are like, man, you don't sound the way you look. Or really, the other way around, you don't look the way you sound. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a neutral thing, really, because like I don't know what you can really take from that, because there's really no stereotype with that you can really relate it to.
So I think about it as, okay, do I look older than I sound? Which, by the way, I don't look that old. I'm about to turn 26, but you never guess that.
Yeah.
And they say I sound older than I look.
Okay. Yeah,
which, I hear my voice every day. I do production work for the station also, so every single day I hear my voice, or I'm driving along and I'm hearing my voice in a promo, and I think I just sound young. But I don't know. I think the audience, the fans, they've let me know about it, and I'll take their word for it.
I think I sound pretty young, in my opinion.
You are young, though.
Yeah,
you're a young kid. You know, you're in college still, and you're a young kid. You fresh out of high school, really. So, you're a young kid, and and that's totally understandable. But to give you an update on the games that are going on right now, Houston UCF is probably the most intriguing game at the moment. UCF is down 17-14 to Houston at home, but they're still pretty early into the second quarter, so we'll keep you updated about that game. Michigan still on top in Maryland, 14-0. Michigan is on defense at the moment. I'm watching that game on my laptop as we speak. And then Wake Forest, they're just taking it to NC State. It's 24-7 in that ball game. They're early in the second quarter. Looking like Wake Forest is going to have a good handle on this ball game. Now, I will say I said something like that last week, and the teams that I said that about was about Oklahoma and Kansas State.
Yeah, we both said that one.
Early in the ball game, Oklahoma got off to a hot start, which totally expected. And all of a sudden, Kansas State just wakes up on offense. And I ended up watching that whole game, and they upset Oklahoma.
And we're about to have, so with the loss that Georgia had a couple weeks ago, South Carolina, then we have the Oklahoma loss. That's 2 weeks in a row we had a top 10 team go down. And today it's guaranteed that we will have another top 10 loss, because we have 6 versus 8, so a top 10 team will go down. We also had it last week again where Auburn went down and Notre Dame went down. 3 top 10 teams went down last week. Pretty crazy. Oh, wait a second. Wisconsin went down a couple weeks ago. There's been a lot of upsets, man.
And Wisconsin was one of those teams that I figured they were going to lose to Ohio State, but you go into that matchup thinking it's going to be an undefeated matchup. This should be a really fun game. They're going to have more momentum with them as they go into the horseshoe at Ohio State. And again, I thought it was going to be a loss for Wisconsin, but it could still have more momentum than what ended up happening, which was the week before they lose to Illinois. Talk about something that just drains the life out of you heading into what's going to be, at the moment, your biggest game of the year. And then they lose that ball game. And now we have another intriguing matchup today. We have Penn State. They are traveling to Minnesota, I think. Let me make sure. I heard that game being talked about yesterday, and I was like, oh, I didn't know those two teams were playing today. And so now as I look through my schedule, I'm going through my schedule now, folks. I just want to double check. I want to make sure that this is right. I'm actually not seeing them. Maybe that'll be a next week matchup when we have Alabama and LSU, number 1 and 2, facing off against each other.
Yeah.
Because that match, both those teams, by the way, are off today.
Yeah.
Both those teams, I'm pretty sure Alabama's off. Yeah, Alabama.
Game day, we'll be heading there next week.
Yeah, you'd imagine so.
No, we're going to head to, like, James Madison versus Richmond or something like that.
Yeah, because the LSU-Alabama game is not going to be the game of the century or anything like that.
It's not.
It's not a big deal whatsoever. No.
I really think it's probably, like, one of the smaller games that no one really, like, is trying to really watch or touch on. It really isn't that big of a game, in my opinion. Okay, we're just shooting the dead horse now. Yes, we're just kidding.
It's going to be a big game. My eyes are going to be glued to the TV. It's going to be a phenomenal football game. I would imagine that game is going to be on CBS with a kickoff at 2:30, although I would have loved it if, like, Chris Fowler and Kurt Herbstreit could be calling that as the primetime game. It's not looking like that's going to be the case because CBS does have the rights to those football games. So I would imagine that that game is going to be a 2:30 kickoff on CBS. Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson on the call.
But, like, all right, let's remember this. Alabama and Ole Miss on ABC a couple years ago when Ole Miss upset Alabama. Chris Fowler, that was a pretty exciting game that he had going on there.
That was a fun game.
Yeah, so, like,
I think I was in California when that game was going on, too. I was watching that game on my phone because we were stuck in L.A. traffic.
I was watching on my back porch with my dad. I remember seeing Chip Kelly get absolutely nailed. The ball is floating in the air and ends up in the hands of Tabayo, and he runs to the end zone. I can't believe I remember that play so well.
Chad Kelly.
Yeah.
Chad Kelly, man.
Why did I say Chip?
You said Chip.
That's
his nephew.
Yeah,
so
that's his nephew.
you were in the family, I think. You were in the family. Actually, are they related?
Yeah,
no,
they are. Wait.
No. He's related to he's the nephew of the quarterback from Buffalo.
Chip.
It's not Chip Kelly. Something Kelly. Anyways, he went to 4 straight Super Bowls but lost all 4. Our very own Coach K, Stevenson, knows him very well. But I think he drafted him too. I think Coach K drafted Kelly. But
I
want to say this.
Jim
Kelly.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you. Yeah, he is. Shout out to Mom. Dude, people, hey, by the way, guys, at 623-1330, don't be afraid. If we're blundering or something, text us or call us and feel free to, you can fact check us. That's okay. Like, we would rather, I'm going to take a page from my very good friend Andrew McKay from the Pensacola Morning News. I would rather get it right than just say something wrong. So correct me if I'm wrong. So I firmly believe that as well. But I will say this, and this is dangerous territory I'm walking into right now. You know why? I'm later on tonight, after the UWF football game, I'm going to an Alabama house. Not in the state of Alabama. I'm going to a house where they are big Alabama fans. So a couple of weeks ago, Alabama was taking on Tennessee. And actually, by the way, side note, I did not know that they smoked cigars after they beat Tennessee. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Yeah.
No, we talked about that. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago because
Jalen
Jalen Hurts kind of caught some heat for doing the same thing while he's at Oklahoma. That's really neither here or there. But, I mean, Tennessee kept it close on them. And so I could see in Alabama's anguish in that. But Alabama, after a while, was pulling away.
Yeah.
They were going to win that ball game. Tua did get hurt in that ball game, so we were all we've already known Mac Jones a little bit, but we've got to see what Mac Jones can really do trying to keep his team in a ball game. He didn't look too good. He was fairly inconsistent. But I will say this now, and this is where I walk into the dangerous territory because, again, later on tonight, I'm going into an Alabama household. Alabama fans and the way they complain are way different from complaints from myself. Way different from complaints of a Florida State fan right now because Florida State's not playing too hot, or an Auburn fan right now. Alabama fans' complaints are so much more different in tone than the complaints of a fan whose team can suffer a loss or 2 a year. In my case, we were a 3-win, 4-win team 2 years ago. We won the Peach Bowl last season, and I was pretty darn satisfied with that. That was a 3-loss season. And Alabama fans lost. Their team lost in the national championship pretty bad to Clemson.
Yeah.
But even though Alabama was winning that ball game, and they were winning it pretty easily at some point, the complaints are so different.
I know.
Like they complain about, and I'm not speaking on behalf of all Alabama fans, but come on, I want you to check yourself and just ask yourself, is this something I do? You complain about the very, very small things that I wouldn't even look at. very small things that I really wouldn't even look at. You would complain about things to where it would be a completion, but it wasn't a first down, and there's a complaint about that. Or you're already winning 58-10, and your quarterback took one little sack because the offensive lineman missed his assignment, and you're blowing up at the TV. I'm just saying, man, you have it better than everybody else.
You really do.
But I also don't think it's their fault either. You are an Alabama fan. You've had it so good the last 10 years to where if you have a 2-loss team, it's the end of the world. That's what I've noticed. I have one of my best friends who, by the way, congratulations to Ben Scarborough and his now fiance Bess. They just got engaged yesterday. They just got engaged yesterday at their brand new home in Atlanta, Georgia, and they haven't picked a wedding date yet. But if I'm not best man, we're gonna have words. He is a diehard Alabama fan. His dad went to Alabama. His uncle, who is, by the way, used to be the congressman of our area, Joe Scarborough. That's his uncle. He went to Alabama as well. So they're Alabama fans through and through. My best friend went to South Alabama, but they're Alabama fans. And whenever I hear them complain, it's just, try being a Gator fan right now. Try being an Auburn fan. And I'm not even talking about bad teams. I'm just talking about teams that will lose a game or two a year, and their perspective is just a little bit different. Alabama fans, you can't help it. Your team is too good for you to help it, but your perspective is so much different. And now that's just what I've seen in my eyes. I could be dead wrong, and feel free to call me out if you want. 623-1330, and let's have a talk about it. Because your view of a football game is so much more different from mine. The way you see a bad play, it's like magnifying. Yeah. If I see a bad play, it's, well, I've seen that before. If you see a bad play, you would have thought your team just got kicked out of the stadium. They lost so bad. I'm just saying, remember that you are still an extremely good football team. Tua is, by the way, a game-time decision for LSU next week. I expect he's going to play. I would be shocked if he didn't play. All I'm saying is, man, you guys are going to be, as long as Nick Saban is your head coach, you are going to have a very good football team. And Alabama has a different standard. They have a different standard. They don't have we're just trying to make it to the Final Four standard. They have we're trying to win the whole bleeping thing standard. And Nick Saban is the most incredible coach ever and has just put in such a winning atmosphere at Alabama that it's different anywhere else. And Clemson's going to be the same way. Clemson is on their way to being the same exact thing if they are not already there.
So we have a caller. We have Jeff who wants to comment on Alabama.
All right, so Jeff, you're on the line. You say you want to I'm being told that you want to make a comment on Alabama. Welcome to the show.
I think they should be complaining because one of the reasons why I don't think they should be glad that that Drew Brees did not go to the Miami Dolphins and stuff. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm hearing.
Oh, so you might be hearing like a loop. Just 1 second. Stick with me on the phone line, man. All right, okay. All right? That should be better. We had a button pressed on the board that shouldn't have been pressed. Is that sounding better?
Yeah, that sounds better. But what I'm going to repeat what I said. One reason why I think Alabama fans shouldn't be complaining, the Miami Dolphins could have had Drew Brees. And if Drew Brees goes to the Miami Dolphins, Nick Saban, I'm going to guarantee you, is not the coach of Alabama right now. So they should be thanking the Miami Dolphins and their physical trainers that Nick Saban came there, and he's been there forever, like 13 years. I mean, if I was a fan, I wouldn't. I mean, you've gotten 5 national titles with Nick Saban. 5. I mean, most people would kill to have one right now. I'm sure the Gator fans would kill to have one. I mean, they should be thankful because one day when Nick Saban's gone, they had a right to be mad for about 20 years when they lost their last coach after Gene Stallings, but they better enjoy it because one day it's going to be like going back to when Dan Marino left to the Dolphins or when the Patriots finally lose Tom Brady. So if they're going to complain, that's fine. But remember, when it's gone, it will be gone. I would say 10 years. Have a nice day, guys.
Jeff, we always appreciate it when you're on with us. Jeff is a fan of the show. He's also a fan of the station in general. Been on with Sports Call. He's also been on with Talk Football or Sports Drive with Chad Reliante. He's also been on Talk Football with Coach K. Fan of the station, fan of the show. Jeff, I like your comments about how fans should just be happy with the 5 national championships. But after you instill a winning atmosphere, the expectation isn't just we're trying to win games, we're trying to win national championships. And that's where I can't really blame an Alabama fan for having that mindset of I expect perfection, I expect to win, because Alabama has been a perfect team for so long now. And I will even go back to last year. Yeah, they were perfect until the national championship, but they're just they're a great program, and Nick Saban's done amazing things. And yeah, they should thank Miami that Nick Saban left Miami to go take the job at Alabama. Nick Saban is he's a college football coach. He is the kind of coach that's perfect for college, not the NFL. And I'm pretty sure Nick Saban would be the first to admit that. All I do have to say is just definitely don't ask Nick Saban about who's going to start at quarterback. All right, so 12:19, we do have to take a quick timeout. Jeff, thank you again for being a part of the show. And if you want to be a part of the show, 623-1330, 623-1330. You can also text that line. You don't have to call if you don't feel like going on air. When we come back, though, College Game Day, they're in Memphis. Let's talk about SMU and Memphis at 6:30 tonight. It's all going to be coming on Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Okay, here's the thing about yellow snow. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me?
Learn how to drive, you moron!
Remember, you're always teaching. Teach carefully. React with rage, and kids will learn it's okay to do the same. Keep your cool, and kids will do likewise. For advice, visit actagainstviolence.org. Brought to you by MetLife Foundation, National Association for the Education of Young Children, and the Ad Council.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golic and Wingo.
Oh, yeah!
To the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
TAP Book Bar and Bistro is the South's premier destination for high-energy sports entertainment. Enjoy award-winning food and a wide variety of draft beer selections with a local flair. Featuring a giant video wall, dozens of HD TVs, and a smoke-free video poker bar, there's no better place to be for sports entertainment. Join us at TAP Book Bar and Bistro, only at Beau Rivage. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
What if people had a battery level icon? Like on your phone? You'd see a lot of us in need of a recharge. Thank goodness there's 5-Hour Energy. Because just one sugar-free, vitamin-packed 5-Hour Energy shot can get you all the way back to 100% fast. And isn't life better at 100%? 5-Hour Energy. Get back to 100%. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com.
The Paul Feinbaum Show.
Everything you wanted to happen hasn't happened.
Oh my gosh, that's all any of y'all want to talk about is Alabama.
You're really not understanding the conversation, but anyway, we can move on.
Alabama's dynasty has just begun.
Hold on a second, Charles. Somebody wants to talk to you.
I don't want to talk that compelling moron. He's nothing but a lame-head old man.
2 till 5 every weekday afternoon. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You're out of your freaking mind, cowturd.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
matchup between two American Athletic Conference opponents, the AAC, home of the UCF Knights, who had 2 back-to-back regular season undefeated seasons, but yet were not given enough respect to be put in a top 4 matchup, to be put in a Final Four. I don't anticipate that to be the case with SMU if they were to go undefeated, but I will say SMU has been one hell of a story. So SMU has been that team. There's always that team that you don't talk much about, but there's always that team that will have a good season, go undefeated. Western Michigan was that team with PJ Fleck. UCF has been that team the last couple of years. And this year you have SMU, the Mustangs. They are 8-0. They're ranked first in the American Athletic Conference Western Division. And this is the best they have been since the teams that had gotten them banned for 2 years, that had gotten them the death penalty. And it was not those exact teams, but it was those teams that, over a chain of events, over a chain of violations, led to them getting punished so severely that they didn't have a program for 2 years. So SMU is taking on Memphis at Memphis. Memphis is favored by 6 points. And yet in this ball game, I want to keep SMU serious. Mm-hmm. I want to keep them in the ball game to where I would take SMU. However, it wouldn't shock me if Memphis were to win this ball game. And this is going to be a game that I'm going to hold off on my prediction. It's going to be one of those games where I'm going to hold off on my prediction because this is going to be a fun game. This is a game that has so much hype, mainly for the Memphis and FSMU fans. Game Day likes to give respect to some of these programs. Like last week, they were at South Dakota, North Dakota State. And that was a pretty fun game, but North Dakota State, the number 1 ranked team in FCS, did go on to win that ball game. The winner of this ball game is going to have the advantage in the American League Western Division and could possibly be the favorite to win the ACC because the Western Conference is just that much stronger than the East Conference right now. Although UCF has won the conference the last 2 seasons, UCF is not the same team that they were. Even though I still think they're an okay team, they're just certainly not. So if you're in the AAC, you have to be a perfect team just to be a top 10 team and have enough respect to be placed in a New Year's Six Bowl. Which, by the way, if SMU can do that, they will be a New Year's Six Bowl. If they can stay perfect and win their conference title, yeah, they're gonna be a New Year's Six Bowl team, but not top 4.
Cincinnati could do the same thing too. Their only loss right now was Ohio State. Okay, this a team that is a very, very strong national championship contender. I think if Cincinnati can win out, I think you can give it to them as well. Because look, it's Ohio State. You don't expect Cincinnati to win that game. You put almost anyone else on that schedule, they can come out with a win. I mean, they beat UCLA early in the year, and other teams. Who else did they beat? They beat someone else.
I don't know.
They beat Marshall. Yeah, they beat Marshall. That's right. Which Marshall, another good Group of 5 team. But UCF, in order for UCF to get back to the AAC Conference Championship, though, Memphis is going to have to knock out Cincinnati in the last week of the season, which is going to be a great game. It's going to be if Memphis stays in the top 25 after the day, it'll be a top 25 matchup. I'm almost certain by the time that game comes around.
Get past this Memphis team, and the schedule is looking favorable to SMU. ECU is Eastern Carolina. That's the next team that they have. Navy at Navy. That's actually always a pretty tough matchup. Navy is a very talented team. So that can be a game that you're going to want to prepare pretty hard for. And then Tulane to finish out the year, which Tulane had a big upset win over Houston earlier in the year on a pretty good touchdown at the end of the game to end the game. So Tulane, I would expect a win. It's at home for SMU. I would expect a win over Tulane, but that was just a moment of respect for me to give Tulane. But SMU in this ball game, they have a very talented quarterback out of Shane Beckley, who, by the way, if you are familiar with the name, he played at Texas. He transferred away from Texas because the current quarterback, Sam Ehlinger, beat out Beckley for the starting job. So Beckley went ahead and got out of there. He went on over to SMU. He's a captain of the team now, and he's been playing very good football. Now, this Memphis team, on the other hand, they have a pretty good talented quarterback. I believe his name is Brady White. Brady White. He's been a guy who's been with the program. I think he's been their starting quarterback for 2 years now. He's a very talented quarterback himself. In fact, numbers-wise, you could say he's having about the same year, if not maybe slightly better of a year than Shane Beckley. Beckley has put more yards on the ground out of more passes, or yards in the air with more passes. Brady White has made just a little bit less mistakes. I think that one thing that's hurting SMU is that they are going to be without their top receiver, Roberson. One of their top receivers, Roberson, he's not going to be in this ball game. They do have Xavier Jones. Xavier Jones is a beast of a running back. A beast of a running back. So I can see them relying heavily on him in this ball game. The accuracy and efficiency of Shane Beckley, what is he going to do in this ball game? That's going to be SMU's game plan offensively, and I can't really say much about their defense. I don't know enough about these two teams because, again, like I said before, you're always going to have at least one of these teams that is going to have a breakout season. It's only going to last for about a year or two, but you're going to enjoy it while it's here. Like Western Michigan, I should say, who went to a Fiesta Bowl, where they did lose to Washington, or not Washington either, Wisconsin. I'm getting all these W's mixed up. Where they lost to Wisconsin in the Fiesta Bowl. Look, yeah, that team was pretty expected. It was pretty expected that they were going to lose that game, but it was fun to see. Remember when Northern Illinois went to an Orange Bowl against Florida State? They kept it close for a little while. Florida State did go on to win that Orange Bowl, but it was a fun game to see, and it was a fun team to see, do something fairly improbable during that time. And SMU is just that team now. Are they going to be that same team that they were 25, 30 years ago? Absolutely not. But it's fun to see at the moment. Best start since 1982 for this ball team.
I just want to say we did have a caller call in. I don't know if they hung up the phone or if we just didn't get their call in time. So if they're still listening, call us back because we want to get your opinion on what we're talking about here, or you give us an opinion on the game.
Any game, really.
Yeah,
any game.
We love having callers and callers call in. It's one of our favorite things to do, to discuss with our fan base and talk to them. Thank you.
Absolutely. There we are, and we are getting that phone call now, so we'll actually hang on here just a few minutes so we can get this phone call before we take our time out. But SMU, Memphis, college game day there. Lee Corso picked SMU. And again, I'm going to hold off on giving my pick here for the moment, but because of course I want to try and save like my big predictions for the end of the game. So Justin has our caller coming up onto the phone right now. So Justin, who do we have on the line with us?
We got Mark, who wants to talk about some football going on right now.
All right, Mark, welcome to Sports Call with Davis and Justin. What's on your mind today?
I just missed it earlier, and I wanted to get you guys' opinion of who you was rooting for or more pulling for with the Florida and Georgia game. Sorry.
Well, Mark, that was a great question to ask because both of us here are fairly big Gator fans. So when it comes to pure fandom, I'll be rooting for you're a Gator fan too, you say?
Yeah.
All right. Respect. We're already good friends. Now, I'll be rooting for Florida. Don't get me wrong. Now, I'm going to hold off on telling you who I think is going to win because we want to try and save that for our final segment of the show. But really, and we're going to talk more about this game actually after this break, but this is a ball game where Florida is coming in with a lot of momentum, but yet it's intriguing to me that Georgia is the team that's favored to win. They haven't really looked as strong. They've lost a lot of talent in the running core and receiving core as well as defensively. They still have Jake Fromm as their quarterback. He hasn't been as efficient at the quarterback position, but I have a hard time believing he's going to have a bad game himself.
I honestly believe that.
I feel like with having them back, them boys back, I feel like it's going to put a lot of pressure on him. He's not going to be as accurate as he usually is.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I feel like having Zuniga back, having Gennard back, we're going to get a lot better on the defense of the front seven there. It's going to put a lot of pressure there on Jake Fromm, and I'd like to see how we go up against the Georgia O-line. It's going to be a pretty good one for us, and I can't wait to see how Florida goes at Jake Fromm, especially with the weak power receivers that they have. They're going to have to force DeAndre Swift to try and make some success today.
And definitely, my big key to the game is how well is the secondary going to play for Florida, because that's going to be the big difference maker, because the secondary was burned a lot last year in Jacksonville. I would know that. Not only that I didn't see it on TV, I was there in person and got to witness that in person and feel that anguish. But, Mark, thank you so much for being a part of Sports Call. Feel free to call in anytime.
Oh,
yeah.
One more question.
Go ahead, man.
So if Florida beats Georgia and goes to the SEC championship, who would you rather them see play, LSU or Alabama?
You know, that decision looks like it's going to be made next week when LSU and Alabama play, but I want to see Alabama because Florida keeps losing to them. We've already met LSU once this year. And actually, you know what? I think that's why I want to change my answer to LSU.
Yeah, that's why.
I think I want to change my answer to LSU because we have been losing to Alabama. And also, I think giving us another chance against LSU, we might be able to pull their number.
Yeah, play a lot differently because it's more of a revenge game.
And we'll have a healthy defense in that ballgame, assumingly.
Yeah,
we'll have a healthy defense.
I'm with you there. I'd rather see LSU because it's not every time that you're able to face another team twice in a season, and I feel like Florida, they'd be better to adjust to LSU and Joe Burrow and try and be able to lock them down better, especially our front seven. If they're fully healthy against LSU in the SEC championship, that'd be a great thing to see. But we won't know until next week because the winner next week will probably most likely be going to the SEC championship.
Most likely, but either way, both teams have a bye this week, so we have 2 undefeateds facing off next week. It's going to be 1 and 2. I do not seeing those two shifting any direction. Doesn't matter how Ohio State does. I think that we're still going to have that 1-2 matchup. But, hey, Mark, we appreciate you being a part of the show. We do have to take a timeout on Sports Call with Davis and Justin. And when we come back, we will talk a little bit more about this Georgia-Florida game, as well as we're going to give you our winners and losers from last week. This is Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Get your vehicle ready for holiday road trips with these Pensacola Honda service specials. Save $10 on a lube, oil, and filter change, brake inspection, top-off fluids, multi-point inspection, and complimentary car wash. Only $44.95. Pensacola Honda's tire rotation, tire balance, and alignment, all for $139. And engine air filter and cabin filter replacement, only $99.95. PensacolaHonda.com or Pensacola Boulevard at W Street. Pensacola Honda, home of the one price, low price guarantee.
Just felt there's a huge need in Pensacola to bring foot and ankle services, specifically orthopedic foot and ankle services, to this area. There's so much growth in Pensacola. I wanted a freestanding orthopedic foot and ankle center to do this, and as far as I can tell, this is the only one really in the country that's freestanding. Most orthopedic surgeons are part of a multi-specialty group. So we offer on-site x-rays, on-site CT scan, and on-site MRI. They can come to one place.
Visit NielsenOrthopedics.com to reserve your appointment today.
I'm really hungry, but I don't want to spend a fortune.
Well, you're in luck. Now you can get Denny's Super Slam with 2 eggs, 2 bacon strips, 2 sausage links, hash browns, and 2 pancakes, all for just $5.99.
That is a great deal. So I get all of that for just $5.99?
You sure do.
Wow, this meal just keeps getting better and better.
Some might say super.
I see what you did there.
The $5.99 Super Slam is back. See you at Denny's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. No substitutions.
Does pain have you sidelined on the bench? Clearway Pain Solutions wants you back in the game. Our team of compassionate, board-certified pain specialists, chiropractors, and physical therapists will relieve your pain and restore your function. For comprehensive, patient-centered care, visit a Clearway doctor at one of our convenient locations near you. Call Clearway Pain Solutions today at 855-527-PAIN or visit our website at clearwaypain.com. That's 855-527-PAIN or clearwaypain.com.
ESPN Pensacola is your home for UWF Argos football. Catch every game, home or away, on Pensacola's home for local sports. Next week, the Argos are on the road to Georgia to take on number 1 Valdosta State. Pregame starts at 5:30, kickoff at 6. Hear all the play-by-play action right here on your home for Argos football and local sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330, FM 99.1. UWF football is presented in part by Summer Vista Assisted Living.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns. And that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
wake you up. This is Sports Call with Davis and Justin. You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM. And as I see it right now, UCF has taken their first lead of the ball game against Houston, 21-20 at the moment, as we are 38 seconds away till halftime. Also, other scores going around the country: 21-0 Michigan on top of Maryland. Michigan, and I'm going to go ahead and transition this to winners and losers now, because Michigan is my winner right now. And I say that there's a promo that I actually pulled. I pulled this promo because I couldn't keep it running anymore, because part of the promo was me saying Michigan should be embarrassed. Well, now Michigan, they've been a very different football team ever since they lost to Penn State. Yep. Even in that loss to Penn State, they played well. They didn't lay down in that ball game. They didn't get demolished like they did against Wisconsin, where that was where I said Michigan's my losers because of how poorly they played against Wisconsin. Because I also was fairly bought in on Wisconsin at the time. Michigan has reclaimed my trust. Not really trust, because I don't really support them as a fan, let's just say. Plus, Florida plays them all the time, it seems like, lately. I think they've regained my respect for right now. They've been a good football team as of late, and even in their loss to Penn State, they still looked good. And they're taking it to Maryland right now, which anyone can take it to Maryland at the moment.
Beat Notre Dame last week.
But that's where I want to go, is like last week, they demolished Notre Dame. Yeah. And you were right on that prediction. I was like, nah, Notre Dame's going to win that ball game. Notre Dame's a good team. Even though it's in Michigan, the Big House, a very tough place to play, I think that'll be a fun game, but Notre Dame should win. No, Notre Dame got embarrassed by Michigan, to where I'm going to have to give my winner to Michigan on the merit that they beat Notre Dame the way they did and made me shut up.
Yeah. And
to where I'm gonna admit when I'm wrong and say that, you know what, I think Michigan, that game was a huge win for them, for their program, for their season, to where if they can continue to get a little streak going, it could make that Ohio State game all that much more intriguing. So we will be at that point here in about a month, but let's just keep an eye on it. All right, Michigan, they're my winners for right now, because they just had a very big win. They had a very big win against Notre Dame, and that was a lot of respect. But if I were to also give another win, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is my winner, my other winner, because he won his 82nd PGA Tour event. He did this in Japan, first ever PGA Tour event in Japan. They have the Japan Tour over there, but the PGA Tour, which is based here, is actually based out of St. Augustine. Or really, Ponte Vedra. It's based out of Ponte Vedra, really. He went to Japan. He played in that tournament. He bogeyed the first 3 holes to start his tournament, and then he had played flawless since then. He held the lead, or was at least tied for the lead, in every single round, and it ended with him with a 3-shot victory, birdieing the last hole, and Tiger Woods ties Sam Snead to be the #1 all-time winningest golfer in PGA Tour history. And Tiger Woods will always be my favorite golfer. I still know that there are some people that still have their feelings, let's just say, about Tiger Woods ever since what happened involving his infidelity with his wife. But putting that aside, although I will never condone that nor support it, I'm very happy for Tiger Woods, and he is my winner this week.
I like that winner a lot. Tiger Woods, I mean, do you think he's going to ever break like the actual record? You think he'll get another win?
Oh, yeah, I think he'll get another win. Now, will he break the all-time majors record, which is 18, set by Jack Nicklaus? No. He's at 15 with that improbable Masters win, but I am going to say no, because that is a tall order at his age.
Okay.
However, I say that, I firmly believe, and I'm telling you right now, Tiger Woods is not going to take over, or at least tie, Jack Nicklaus for all-time wins in a major. I just don't think that's going to happen. But I've been wrong so often when it comes to Tiger Woods. Whenever he was out of it, I remember saying he would never win another tournament. When he was having his back surgeries, when he was having his knee surgeries, when he would play and he would just be playing terrible to where he'd have to withdraw because he suffered another injury during that match or during that round, you just could not see Tiger Woods even winning another tournament, let alone another major. And when he finally won that tournament over at the Tour Championship, where he had played well all throughout the season, I'm sitting here thinking, it looks like Tiger has something left in the tank. Let's see about another major. It was hard for me to believe, but let's see. Why not? He played well at the PGA Tour He played well at the PGA Championship. He finished second, and that was enough for me to think, he's getting older. Don't get me wrong. His body's continuing to wear out on him. Maybe he can sneak one more in there. And he did it. On the very next major attempt, he won the Masters. Ever since he won the Masters, though, he fell off. Never really competed again. So now you think, you know what? If Tiger Woods were to never win another tournament, that's okay. He left it with a Masters. But then he won in Japan. So do I think this is going to be his final tournament? I have to say no. I don't think this is going to be his last tournament. But will he take over as the all-time winningest majors winner? No. But he keeps proving me wrong. But I truly do believe no.
Okay.
Who's your winner?
It's hard for me to find a winner this week. I can give it to a lot of people. I'll probably have to go somewhere in the game of baseball, though. I could do like a little bit of a joke. I don't know. I sent you a picture or a video or a link, I guess, of a fan slip and sliding on a dugout after the Nationals won.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that guy. That was pretty cool. Anyone who does that after a game, or I've never seen that done before, but it was a giant guy. And after the Nationals won the World Series, I guess the dugout or the top of the dugout was wet, and he took his shirt off and he slip and slide on top of the dugout. I was like, that's awesome. So I'm gonna give my winner to that guy because he's celebrating the Nationals life, winning the World Series. And my loser, I could take a cheap shot here and just Josh Hamilton with what happened with him.
Yeah, so Josh Hamilton, who former MVP in the MLB, he was a guy who was a number 1 overall draft pick out of high school. He has a history of drug and alcohol related issues. He's had to go to rehab on numerous occasions. He rebounded. He at one point was like the best story in all of sports for how he rebounded, and he got into an altercation allegedly with his daughter, where he, according to his daughter telling his ex-wife, he allegedly pinned her against her bed and screamed at her, left scratches and bruises on her, threw stuff at her. Again, all allegedly. He did turn himself into police. He has since then been released, but this is an ongoing story that we are seeing out of a guy who at one point was the best player in all of baseball.
Yeah.
He's been out of the game since 2017.
What was it? $245 million contract. That's what he had.
200. Yeah, most likely. Yeah, he went to the Angels, and he was a guy who really slipped real quickly. He slipped off the top of the mountain real quickly, because he was a guy who was the best, and then just a couple of bad seasons, and then he couldn't play good baseball ever again. He's like Chris Davis in a way, but Chris Davis didn't have what Josh Hamilton had.
Nowhere near it.
Nowhere near it.
Yeah.
But I agree that's a good loser. My loser is Baker Mayfield.
Ooh.
Baker Mayfield. In fact, actually, Justin, if you could pull up the audio on YouTube while I describe what it is that is about to happen. On, maybe it was Thursday. He was doing a press conference, and he gets into an altercation, like a kind of a verbal. The way they're saying is like a skiff. Got into a little skiff. There was some tension there, where he got into a little bit of an altercation with a reporter. And Justin has the audio. We'll go ahead and play that right here.
Okay, let's make sure I don't have anything else up.
It seemed like there was a lack of urgency there. Was something going on?
There was a penalty, so we were negative yardage.
No, but there was a lot of time between snaps.
Well, when the penalty happened and we're behind the chains. No, stop saying but. I just told you the clock was running and we had a penalty. You want to give them the ball back? No, you don't play. You don't know it. That's just plain and simple. Was I happy with the drive? No, we didn't score points. It's the dumbest question you could ask. What? Jesus, Tony.
So what happened there was he was giving his press conference, and he storms out of the press conference after what it is you just heard. Now, this reporter, by the way, I did a little bit of research on this reporter. This is a guy who is a very well-respected reporter. He's worked reporting the NFL over 20 years. Amongst his colleagues, he is a very well-respected reporter. He did ask, you didn't hear the question, but the question that was asked to Baker Mayfield, because Baker was saying, look, you don't understand the situation. You weren't there. You don't play. You don't know what it is that we're going through. And the play that the drive that he's talking about is a drive where time was being wasted, and they ended up having to punt after a while. And he basically asked and excuse my French, a smart-ass question to Baker, saying, "Well, so are you telling me that you're happy with the result of that drive?" And he responded saying, "No, I'm not happy with the drive. We didn't get points from it."
Jesus, Joe.
Terry. So he said, he says what he says, and he storms off. Baker Mayfield is my loser because, one, they're not playing great football at the moment. Is that on Baker? No, I don't think it really is. I think he's a second-year quarterback who came in with a lot of hype because they finished well last season. I think he came in with too much hype, and I think the Browns are around the team. They're about the team that I kind of expected them to be. They play in a fairly weak division, though, so I think that they can still compete in that division. They'll need to turn it around right now. But I think they can still compete in their division. But Baker Mayfield, he's a young guy. He's overrated at the moment. He is overrated, and he cannot be getting it. I don't think he is the kind of athlete that can get in those kind of altercations with a reporter. And hearing this from other reporters from the radio, this is a reporter who's a well-respected reporter. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's asking. And he probably was getting frustrated with Baker based on his responses. And then Baker gets frustrated with him when he is asked the question, okay, so you're basically saying you were happy with how the drive ended? Well, obviously not. But I do take the reporter's side on this one. I think Baker needs to realize, look, the job of the reporter is to ask you questions. Some questions are questions that you aren't going to like, or they're probably not easy to answer, or they may not make sense to you. But our jobs, because I'm sometimes in these press pools as well, our jobs are to ask sometimes those questions that may come off dumb to you. And we're not dumb. So there probably are dumb reporters out there. And I've certainly asked a dumb question once or twice in my life, and I'm going to continue to probably ask dumb questions.
I don't think I have yet. I'm going to be really sad the day I do.
Yeah, because sometimes you don't want to get embarrassed, but sometimes it's your job to ask the question, and you may not want to ask. You may not want to ask it, but sometimes it just has to be asked. And this is a reporter that sounded to me like he was getting frustrated with Baker. Because the way Baker was conducting himself and answering questions and chirping back at him saying, look, you don't know what we're going through.
You don't play.
As a reporter myself, as an analyst, as a journalist, as a producer, hell, even I work on the back end of radio as well. There are times where the athlete's not going to understand our side because they don't know our side either. The reporter doesn't get Baker's side, but Baker is under the microscope, not the reporter. Baker's the one that answers the questions, not the reporter. The reporter gives the questions. The reporter has a job to do, and he did that job, and Baker handled it poorly. So with that, it looked like you had a word you wanted to say before we go to break.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there, but you just gotta realize emotions are running high for Baker Mayfield. I mean, this season is clearly not what they expected it to be. Down, their chances of making the playoffs are very, very well dwelling, and it doesn't look good for them. I mean, last week is probably that week where it's the turning point of the season where either you're making the playoffs or where you can contend for the playoffs, or if you can't. That was what last week was, in my opinion, for a lot of teams in the NFL. And with that, it just sucks it had to be against the Patriots, the best team, in my opinion, in the NFL right now. And you can't really do anything about it, but I see why he's frustrated and why his emotions are running so high. He could have handled it better, but we see why he acted out in that way.
So Baker Mayfield, he's my loser today. Tiger Woods, he is my winner, along with Michigan gets really more of an honorable mention, but Tiger Woods, he is my winner for bouncing back, starting his PGA Tour season off right with a win in Japan. With that, though, we will take our final timeout of the day before I run on out to Blue Wahoo Stadium to catch some to catch the Argos take on the North Greenville Crusaders. You're listening to Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
I just finished updating my bath with Bath Fitter. Best decision ever. 35 years experience, Bath Fitter knows their stuff. I custom designed the luxury bath I wanted. The color, the style, thousands of options. Luxury hotel quality. Bath Fitter Pensacola did the rest. Installed my bath in less than a day. No demo, no mess, and it's under a lifetime warranty. I love my new bath. Visit bathfitter.com today to book your free in-home consultation and join over 2 million satisfied customers or call 429-1777.
Hey sports fans, we know that we all fumble now and then when we're headed for the end zone, and our vehicles are no exception. Next time your bad ride is a little off sides, take it to Amco Transmission, your total car care facility. And with no interest financing, even with less than perfect credit, you'll drive away feeling as if you caught the winning touchdown. You always make the right play when you take your vehicle to Amco Transmission on Davis Highway, just south of Airport Boulevard. Visit them on Facebook or call 800-GO-AMCO. AA-MCO.
Well, you want to see a Broadway show, but New York City just isn't in the cards.
Broadway's coming to you! Get your tickets now for the 2019-2020 Broadway season at the Sanger Theater. See amazing Broadway touring shows like Jersey Boys, Cats, The Color Purple, Beautiful, An American in Paris, and Waitress for a third of the cost you would pay on Broadway. See actual Broadway shows right here in downtown Pensacola. Get all the details at PensacolaSanger.com.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
The key on offense is going to be whether Franks can come back and duplicate what he did in the last 4 games.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1 is all about high school football. Catch the biggest local games every Friday night on Pensacola's home for local sports and our sister station, News Radio 92.3 AM 1620.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Here on Sports Call with Davis and Justin, and like we always do at the end of the show, we want to give you our predictions for the biggest games. And real quick, we said we were going to talk about Georgia, Florida a little bit more. We touched on them at the beginning, and then when Mark called in, we had a nice conversation about Florida and Georgia. So we will get started on that game right now. We have 2 minutes. Let's go. So Georgia is favored to win this ball game. Matchup Predictor on ESPN has them a 61% chance at winning this ball game, and that's actually shocking to me. It's shocking to me because Georgia has been more inconsistent this year, while Florida has actually played some pretty solid football. But granted, this is a big rivalry. Georgia won the last 2 years. They have been a good football team, and this is a rival. I don't see them coming out flat. So I see where the favoritism is coming in. But Florida is 100% healthy. Kadarius Toney is back for this ball game, a huge offensive weapon to me. He is today's Percy Harvin for the Gators. I like the Gators in this ball game.
I love the Gators in this ball game. The front seven at full health. I like C.J. Henderson with our receiver matchups. I took a big game for Kyle Trask. I think he can do a lot with this Georgia defense. I think Florida can come in there and win this game. I like to see what's going to happen.
All right, secondary will be a big one for the Gators in this
yes.
ball game, that is for sure. All right, let's go out west. Oregon and USC. This should be a fun one, but Oregon, they're the 7th-ranked team in the nation. They currently control their destiny. They have to win out if they want to have a chance at the top 4. Who do you like in this ball game?
Well, we watched that Oregon-Washington State game last weekend.
We did.
Yeah, that was a good game. Washington State was in there. Oregon came back and won there at the end with that last-second field goal. Great job there between those two teams. I like Oregon in this game.
All right, I like Oregon in this ball game too. Justin Herbert, though, needs to show some more consistency at the quarterback position, something he has been lacking. Kansas State, Kansas State, they're now ranked after they beat Oklahoma. I have Kansas State beating Kansas.
I have Kansas winning.
All right, how about Florida State, Miami? I think I like Florida State in this ball game. I made that prediction earlier. I like Florida State.
Miami.
You like Miami?
I like Miami.
All right. Another
SMU
one.
and Memphis.
I like Memphis in this ball game. I do. It's going to be close.
I got SMU.
All right, I have Auburn over Ole Miss. West Florida, big over North Greenville. UW. All right, everybody. UWF kicking off at 4 o'clock. Will Kennedy at 3:30. Have a good weekend.
Football season has arrived, and